On my first day riding a motorbike in India, I got pulled over by the police and fined within a couple of hours of leaving Mumbai. So I flew into Mumbai and I found a motorbike and bought one. And I looked around Mumbai and it was time to leave. I wanted to do a road trip of India. So the night before I left, I didn't sleep very well, mainly because sometimes you don't get sleep in hostels too much, and I was buzzing with anticipation. People told me India was chaotic and dangerous on the roads, especially in monsoon season. I didn't have a perfect plan. I just wanted to ride a motorbike again after many years and see India because I'd never been before. I remember the morning I left. I jumped on my bike, packed my bag, and the feeling of anticipation and excitement as I pulled away into the traffic. It was noisy, it was hot, there were beeping horns everywhere, people crossing the road, red lights, green lights, trucks dominating the road. It was chaotic and hectic, and I loved it. I rode through Mumbai towards the suburbs, past school kids going to school, street sellers, people going to work, all this stuff. And I remember thinking, is this actually a good idea? But at that point, there's no turning back. Everyone is alert, everyone uses the horn. It looks insane, but it flows. And I felt good about myself for getting on a motorbike again after 12 years of not riding one. So anyway, I went through Mumbai and I got out into the country and I was riding down a highway and there was a cop on the side of the road ahead in a brown uniform and he motioned for me to pull over. So I did. And he told me, motorcycles aren't allowed on this highway. You're going to have to pay a fine. He said 2,000 rupees, so that was about £20. But I said, oh, that's a lot of money. I can't really afford that. I need to stay in a hotel tonight and eat dinner. And I argued with him a bit and I managed to haggle it down to 500 rupees. Like haggling for a souvenir in the street, but with the police. So I paid that and he goes, turn around, ride back down the same road, at the side of the road. You get to the roundabout and then you can choose the road that you are allowed on. So that's what I did. And so I was riding along in the south going towards Goa and the monsoon hit because it was monsoon season. The heavens just opened and poured down and I got soaked. On a motorcycle, it is a bit hazardous because you have the visor that fogs up and the raindrops they stick onto the visor. So obviously that obscures your vision. On top of that, your clothes are soaked, your shoes and feet are soaked, the roads are more slippery. So it is a bit hazardous. But it's all part of the fun. You have to accept it. It's all good. And because it was warm and tropical, I was wet, but I was still warm. I did get lost a couple of times because I didn't have a smartphone with Google Maps. This was 2014, so they did exist, I just didn't have one. I only had a very basic road map, and the signage on the roads was quite poor as well, so there was a lot of guesswork. I remember the feeling of creeping down, not knowing exactly where I am, and the mental fatigue, and desperately trying to read road signs, which weren't always accurate, even if they were there. Sometimes I thought I was near to my destination, and I saw a sign for it, and it was another 200 kilometers. India makes you feel very small very quickly. It's a big place. I remember I stopped at a roadside snack truck. This was just outside of Mumbai in the country a bit. I ordered an 8 vegetable samosa and I remember the woman kind of glaring at me. And I remember thinking, why is she looking at me that way? Is she jealous of me and my freedom? Because in India, women don't have so much freedom. They have to stay at home and they don't get to ride around on motorcycles like I was doing. I did encounter some interesting wildlife as I was riding along at various points. I remember the baboon that ran across the road in front of me over the grass verge and then jumped up a wall and then jumped into the tree with quite incredible athleticism. And I didn't expect it. It just happened. It was awesome. I also had snakes slither out of over the road in front of me and then disappear into the bush. That was mainly in Goa. A couple of times I stopped and tried to look for the snake that had disappeared, but I couldn't find it because they are pretty quick and they can disappear in the undergrowth quickly. Another danger of India is the rabid dogs. because rabies is a huge problem in dogs there. So I was quite wary of that. Whenever I saw a dog or a pack of dogs, I would always keep my distance. But I remember riding in Goa along the main highway, and I passed a rabid dog. It was sat in the middle of the road, and it was biting at nothing in the air like that, and it had a wild look in its eye, and I made eye contact with it as I passed by. And I remember thinking that dog looked wild and like it needed help, but being rabies, there was nothing I could do. Another time I was riding along and I felt a sharp pain in my neck, and I had to pull over suddenly, and the car behind me beeped, and I put my hand to my neck and I grabbed something and pulled it out, and it was a wasp that had stung me on my neck, and I just threw it away and then carried on riding. These things happen. And the accommodation is interesting in India. One thing I noticed, the word hotel, as we use it in India, that means more like a restaurant, somewhere to eat. A hotel where you stay for the night is often described as lodging, so you have to look out for that. And there were lots of cheap roadside hotels in any town. You know, musty sheets, no toilet paper, dodgy water that you can't drink. You can't drink tap water in India unless you want to get really sick. Some nights I had to go to bed hungry and thirsty, and there's nothing I could do. You have to wait till morning when the shops open again to buy something. But yeah, hotels were cheap, sometimes 200-300 rupees. That's £2 or £3 a night. So what did it feel like riding a motorbike across India? Well, the scenery was rich and varied. There's hills and mountains, and there's rice paddies and fields. There's forests, there's urban areas, of course. Sometimes the roads are well paved, other times they're kind of potholed and you have to go really slow. It felt so invigorating, tiring, but exciting, and incredibly alive and completely present. You're just enjoying the hum of the engine, the feeling of the motion, and the beautiful scenery around. It wasn't glamorous, it was intense, uncomfortable at times, but very real. Would I recommend riding a motorbike across India? If you're a biker, yes, definitely, you'll love it. Otherwise, only do it if you're comfortable being uncomfortable. India doesn't adapt to you, you adapt to it.